Oh, Tepu, namaste. This is Kasank Mahakeparu with another broadcast for you. And today I want to talk about Bill Cosby being found guilty on all three counts, I believe. So if you're following the news, you will realize that this is, I think, the second trial he's had, and the jury has found him guilty. And I guess he can get up to 30 years in jail, whether separately they can stack the time consecutively. So we'll see what they do. And it's interesting. I remember I met Bill Cosby twice. The first time I met him was in New York City at the Blue Note. I think it's a jazz club, and he was a pretty nice guy, quiet guy, didn't say much. But I was kind of starstruck at the time. And then the second time I met him was on the set of the Cosby Show, and that was fun. And they asked me to come on the show and do a guest appearance because I was so pretty, and I said, hey, when you up our ratings, can you come on the show? But no, I was there, and the set was really nice. And I remember that there was this one actress who kept getting on my nerve because she was so stuck up, man. I was like, what is with this girl? She's like really just stuck up. And I guess it was her first time, and it actually was the first time on the show. And you can definitely see it. And the funny thing about it was I was with a friend of mine, and we kept laughing because this actress kept messing up her lines. And I was like, oh, she's so stuck up and wants to be so professional, but she keeps messing up her lines. So anyway, and Bill was nice. He was professional. So I really don't have too much of an opinion on him or insight into him because I don't know him on a very, very personal level. Oh, Harunefer Zai Bell, how are you? So for all those who are watching, please hit the like button, and if you're new, subscribe to my channel for more great and exciting videos. So I've seen where some in the manosphere community are very upset about the verdict, and they're talking about this whole Me Too movement and attack on male masculinity. Also, some are saying that it's an attack on Black males in general. So what I want for all of you magicians or magis to keep in mind that we're dealing with apart from what you feel about the case. I mean, you can feel that, he's guilty or he's really innocent. Apart from that, your personal feelings, we have to understand that we're dealing with a corrupt judicial system. It's been that way for a long time because it is it really looks at right by might or consensus of thought, meaning like the more people feel something is right, then it must be so. And we know that from Tehuti and Ma'at, truth is independent of how people feel, how people vote, and what they think. The I-Ching talks about how the population of the world can be against something, but if the I-Ching says so, then it's the truth, And in traditional African societies that were ruled by priests and priestesses, we understand that it was always the idea to bring balance and not put punitive measures in place, meaning not to punish, but to bring balance. So therefore, if someone's behavior was detrimental to someone or the community, it was the community that banded together to see what they did wrong to bring about such negative behavior. Okay. So, but in this society that we live in, they don't look at the injustice of society as a whole that brought about someone's actions. They blame it on an individual and then seek to lock that person away without any type of real rehabilitation or examining how can society improve so that you don't spawn more individuals like this. Okay, so that's what we really need to be looking at, is the undercurrent. What causes people to act in certain ways? What brings that behavior about? Why do we have King Leopold? Why do we have a Hitler? Why do we have a Stalin? Why are these people born? What creates them? And when you start to get to the core of this and stop looking at the effect, but look at the cause, then you can work on trying to heal society as a whole so we don't bring about these individuals in the first place. And the problem is we're ruled by the lower animal aspect, which is the sahu, which seeks gratification through revenge, you know. And now I'm going to turn back to the whole Cosby thing. And one of the things that we have to realize is that Hollywood has never come to terms with as Corey Feldman said, the rampant pedophilia that's going on in Hollywood. Why haven't we addressed that? You know, and you know, if you know anything about Hollywood and if you studied Hollywood, you know that these cases of the casting couch or sexual harassment are rampant. They're just not isolated cases. They are rampant in Hollywood. And no one's really addressing this. No one's really calling to task the power brokers who are directly responsible for this. What they do is they use these scapegoats or whatever, and you put them out there in the main media, the mass media and the press, and destroy them, and then making it seem like by destroying these one individuals or isolated incidences that there's a reform in the system, and the system is still the same. The system is still the same. So going back to what I was saying was that Ma'at seeks balance. Ma'at does not seek revenge or punishment. And we have to keep that in mind, because that is the true that is the true measure of justice. Is it seeking revenge? Is it seeking emotional gratification, or is it seeking to bring things back into balance? So, and there are also very, very secret societies in Hollywood that run by very powerful individuals that if you step out of line, they will destroy you. You know, so this is well known. And when you see incidences like what happened with Cosby, where you have so many women coming out of the woodworks many, many years later, you have to ask the question of, like, who did Cosby piss off? You know, because, you know, something like this, it just smells funny. And there has to be somebody very powerful behind the scenes that is orchestrating this. When you see things like that, it's orchestrated. So you have to just look at it with a side eye and just say, hey, is there more than what we're being told to the story? You know, because again, movies are put out there by secret societies. You know, people like Kanye West, Beyonce, they're chosen individuals to get to the high place that they are. These are not individuals who got there just simply by their talent. They were chosen because they could be used as a vehicle to communicate a mass message to the population on the planet to further mind control them. All right. And if you think this whole thing about mind control, subliminal seduction is just fantasy, well, wake the hell up, you know, wake up. Now, what I want to say to this whole Cosby thing, it's very similar to when Hillary Clinton was running against Trump. And you have to look at it this way. If you're seeking to become a great person, a great man or woman, and I mean, there's different levels. You can become a great man or woman, or you can become a God man, God woman. You can become a sage or an ancestor, honored ancestors. The choice is yours. And I remember going to the great oracle I-Ching, and it kept saying that there are two paths that I can choose. And I always wondered why. Every reading I did, it kept talking about that. And years later, it makes sense. So what I'm saying is that there really are two realities that exist, because there's one reality that we are living in right now that can branch off to another reality depending upon the thoughts and beliefs that you harbor and the actions that you take. There are still people who exist in a reality where Bill Cosby was found innocent. There's still a reality where people exist where Hillary Clinton is president. Now, which reality will you go to? All right, let's say that you are that you're very upset that Bill Cosby was found guilty. Okay, so the way that you can deal with this situation and exit the so-called matrix, and I'll talk about that as well, is that you have to look at this from a very non-judgmental and non-emotional perspective, meaning that allow what you see and hear, allow yourself to absorb it but don't become emotionally invested in it. Don't have an emotional reaction and don't judge the situation. Just accept that it is. And when you start to do this in every aspect of your life, then you embark on the journey to exit the matrix. Because if you don't have a definition of something, then you simply cannot have a correct emotional reaction to it. And if you're not having an emotional reaction to it and you're not defining it, then therefore you're on your way toward Amen, being at peace. Because the reality is that it is not something that someone says that hurts us or upsets us. It's our perspective and the definitions that we hold of what they said that causes the issues in our life. All right. Now, intrinsically, what we're seeing with Bill Cosby really is not good or bad. It depends on which side of the coin you subscribe to. All right. So I want to keep that in mind, because if you're striving to be a sage, if you're striving to be God man, God woman, the only way you can do that is to not get emotionally involved in what you see, especially in mainstream media, which really seeks to manipulate your emotions and manipulate your mindset. So don't subscribe to any of that, you know. So when I went to the Oracle, when the verdict was passed, I said, is it possible for me to exit to an alternate reality where he's not found guilty? And the Oracle said, yes, absolutely. So not that I'm interested in doing that, but the thing is this: you have an opportunity to live the type of life you want. And that's going to be based on what path you choose. If you pick the higher road, you can do that. If you pick the lower road, you will be manipulated and moved here and there by how the dominant society manipulates you. See, it is not important for us to exit the matrix. I mean, that is a very, very high goal. If you want to do that, it's there for you. It may take many incarnations for that to happen, but it's doable. What is more important is that you come into a realization of your power. When you come into a realization of your power and the ability to use your power correctly, then it doesn't matter if you're in the matrix, because you can shift your vibration to any reality and any possibility, any quantum possibility that you can fathom. You can say, well, I want to be in a reality where Hillary Clinton is president, and you can make that happen, because there's two roads for you. There's always a choice for you. And if you go back and understand and research the Mandela effect, you'll see that people are experiencing this, where they're shifting to different realities and their memory of history has changed. So this opportunity and this power resides within you. You just have to decide to take it. And the funny thing is, I get really sick of this stuff where people, they will send me an email and then they'll ask the same question over and over again, or they'll ask a question where I already gave the answer. Like, for example, someone will say, well, how do you exit the matrix? I just told you. And it's like, are you not listening? Do you not get it? I said, it is your emotions, your thoughts, your beliefs that keep you in the matrix. If you are a Star Wars fan, and George Lucas was a big insider, he was a part of the ruling elite, and he tried to warn people about the evil empire, about the New World Order. And in the film, The Empire Strikes Back, Luke Skywalker is about to go into this tree that's full of the dark side. And he wants to take his lightsaber and his gun. And Yoda says, you won't need them. And so Luke Skywalker says, well, what's in the tree? What is in there? And any one of us would have wanted to know the same thing. We would ask the same question. And Yoda says, and this is very deep, only what you take with you. Meaning that if you bring into their evil, then evil will be in a tree. If you bring in there your lightsaber, then there's going to be a lightsaber duel. So what I'm saying to you is, what exists in this matrix is only what you bring into it. All right. If right now, the majority of people in this matrix are allowing the ruling elite, the oligarchy, to hack their mind and to manifest a reality that is not in alignment to what they want. But if you learn the techniques to hack your own psyche and manifest the reality that you want, then you won't worry about being in the matrix. It won't bother you. You know you're in the matrix, but you're having fun because you're manifesting things that you want. It's like you wake up every morning and say, what am I going to manifest today? I think I'll manifest this. I think I'll manifest that, you know? And then your world becomes subjective. It becomes your reality, and everyone else is just a guest. And if you don't like them, you can ask them to leave. You can make them leave through your own power. But when you identify yourself as weak and helpless, then you lean on the court system, the judicial system, to enact justice. And they can't do that. They won't do that for you because it's corrupt. And it's been that way for many, many years. And when you're looking for the court system to dispense justice, that's like rolling the dice at Vegas and hoping you'll win the jackpot. It's not going to, it's like, it's not going to, it may happen and it may not happen. But most likely the odds are in the house's favor. Do you understand? And they're so clever. And I know this personally because I have 2 lawyers that I work with, and they're always giving me the insider view or perspective. They're so clever how all of this is done. The lawyers know how to manipulate the system. The judge knows how to manipulate the system. And it's all, it's like you seeking justice is like almost ridiculous. And especially if you're a person who's of color, you can forget that. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying to you is, someone's going to run out there and say, well, Kasong says don't take anybody to court because you'll never get justice. I didn't say that. I did not say that. What I'm telling you is what the I-Ching says. And the I-Ching says this very poignantly. It says, you let go. Here's I-Ching. Ta-da. It says, you let go your magic tortoise. See if I can find that. You let go your magic tortoise. I believe it's the 27th hexagram. And, it's full of Chinese mysticism and allegory. So you got to kind of like interpret it, and you can find different interpretations and stuff like that. And, it always chastises me sometimes when I make a mistake, the I-Ching. So it says here on the 27th hexagram, the 9 at the beginning means you let your magic tortoise go and you look at me with the corners of your mouth drooping, misfortune. So the magic tortoise is a symbol of the power within you, the magic within you. So what the I-Ching is saying is like, you have relinquished your power. You've let your magic tortoise go. And now you're looking at other people for help and guidance. It's not going to work. The power is within you. So forget about the court system. Forget about seeking justice there. Forget about thinking people will inherently do the right thing, because they won't. You're going to have to rely on your power. And you're going to find that there are situations that you're going to confront in this reality that there's no way you can overcome this. There's no way you can overcome this. The only way you can overcome it is through magic. That's why I've chosen a life to lead as a magician, because I know I'm sick and tired of trying to talk people into doing the right thing. You had and they meant well, the old Greek philosophers. And if you read some of their works, if you read like Aristotle, Plato, Zeno, if you read their works, it's really deep, very left brain, but still very good. But the one thing that they all are kept harping on was that life is what it is, and you must accept it for what it is. And I understand that, terrible things happen, bad things happen, and you have to get to a point of accepting it. But then from us, who are come from ancient Kemet, Smaitawi, Timeri, we know that we just don't have to accept the way life is, that we can manipulate the very fabric of reality to bring about a world that we like, that we want, okay? So understand that you do have a say in the 4th dimensional experience, the hologram that you are interacting with, that it is not just objective, it's not static, it's not solid, but it's energetic. It responds to you. The minute you pick up a new belief system, it instantly manifests that reality so you can interact with it. So the thing then is to cut off the communication with the oligarchy, because they're pumping you subliminal images, subliminal thoughts, and they know that you're going to manifest that stuff. So I'm cutting that off, and I'm saying, get out of my head, and I'm manifesting the reality that I want. What's the first step? Well, the first step is to look at something like the Bill Cosby trial and to look at it from a very objective perspective. Don't have an emotional investment into it. Just watch it and allow it to work itself upon you. And again, going back to the I-Ching, and the 61st hexagram talks about the master who can basically change reality is one who will allow the person or the thing to influence him, but he not have an opinion or belief or emotion toward that thing. And that's kind of very deep, because that means that you're getting to the very core of something, because all objects don't represent the thing themselves. You understand? You see a water fountain, you see a mailbox. The mailbox is not a mailbox. It represents something deeper. It's more symbolic to something, because that is your psyche manifesting a mailbox, which is really trying to communicate to you in a very symbolistic way. It's a symbolism. Mailbox is a symbolism. It is an archetype. What does that mailbox mean? This is where our ancestors got into looking at omens and said, you know what? That means this. That means this. They didn't interpret the bird, the raven, as just a raven. They said, well, that raven means something more. It's deeper than just a raven. So the objects that you are interacting with, the things that you're doing, have a very deep meaning that only you are aware of, embedded deep in your subconscious. If you learn to start diving into yourself, to become the term a psychonaut, and I love that. It's a book you should get, Psychonaut. It talks about being like an astronaut, or a person who goes into your psyche and delves deep and understands how you're made up, what you think, what you do. Because when you start to understand yourself, then the reality that you're interacting with makes more sense. Okay. And then you'll start to see synchronicities. You'll start to see things align, you know? So what I'm saying to you is that there's always an opportunity to shift to a parallel reality, one that what's there is what you want, and not what's being manipulated and put in place by the ruling elite. Because they already know how they've mastered the black arts. They're black magicians, and they're doing it to us on a daily basis. So you've got to cut off that communication with them and start manifesting your own reality. Otherwise, you're going to be manipulated the rest of your life. You're going to watch all kinds of TV programs with all kinds of cast of characters who are either innocent or guilty, and you're going to be swayed here and there according to your emotional woos. So you got to get out of that. You got to get out of that. You know what I mean? And I counsel a lot of guys who are in relationships or getting into relationships. And a lot of guys I know get stuck on one type of girl, and they're just all into the girl. And I said, do you know how many beautiful women there are on this planet? Go to the next girl. If that girl is not interested in you, if she's not feeling you, move on to the next girl. And then I counsel these women, and the women get very vindictive, and they want to do something against the man who dumped them. I said, you know how many good looking men there are? Just go out to a bar or a restaurant and look available. And a man will go up there and say, hey, you look pretty. I want to get to know you better. But, you know, we get tunnel vision. But we're taught in the society to be that way, to place such a high emotional investment in something. And this is where we have to divorce ourselves from the outcome. And this is another difficult thing for us to do. And this will help you get out the matrix. Stop looking for a particular outcome in any given situation. And when you do that, you'll find that your magic explodes. You understand? Stop looking and saying, well, I hope Cosby is found innocent. I hope Cosby is found guilty. No, just look at it objectively and allow whatever happens to happen. Well, you know, I'm doing this magic to manifest some money, and I'm really hope that it works. No, don't hope that it works. Allow it to work. Just do what you have to do for the sake of doing it. You know, virtue is its own reward. And in doing what you're doing as a magician, and not having an investment in the outcome, the good will come of its own accord. You don't have to push it. You understand what I mean? We think by hoping and praying and getting all sweaty and you know, that's going to help it manifest. No, it just makes it worse. You know what I'm saying? It just makes it worse. So if you know, for the men out there who are upset at the Cosby verdict, all I got to say to you is just, okay, then start your way out the matrix. All right. because this, who was it? Okay, it wasn't Zeno, the Greek philosopher. I think it was Epictetus, and who said when he was going to be executed, his family was weeping, and he was saying, basically, why are you weeping over this one incident when all of life is to weep for? It's like, oh, you're upset at this one incident? Psh, there's a lot of other things that are worse than this that are going to happen and are happening. Don't get hooked on one thing now. You understand what I mean? So learn to access the power within you. And when that happens, you will not fall victim or be in this reality where things like this can happen and occur and affect you in such an emotional way. And I understand, there are a lot of things that are going wrong in the world. We have poverty. We still have slavery overseas. We have young Black men being locked up like crazy. We have an education system that doesn't really educate you. It miseducates you. And the real education is only for the wealthy and the elite. We have a plan that's in place to exterminate the population and only put in place about, 5 million out of billions and billions of people. So if you don't want this stuff in this world, then move to a new world where these things do not exist. And you can do that. You can do that. Now, let me give you the secret about this, because a lot of people misunderstand this, especially in the New Age movement, where they're teaching. Oh, man, I should have brought that book to you guys. Okay. It's called Transurfing. And I'll introduce that book in the next one. It's by this Russian mystic philosopher who wrote this book about how do you transurf to a new reality, right? But the thing is, and I'm not speaking about him, I'm just saying a lot of people who are teaching this technique in the New Age movement are getting it wrong, all right? And I'm going to explain to you exactly right here and now how it works. So don't send me an email saying, how does it work? All right. Haru Nefer Asat, Haru Nefer Patrick, and Tapu Trisha. See that the magicians are coming in. All right. So let me explain how it works. All right. You think that, and I'm going to use some visual aids to help me. All right. So if I don't like this reality, right? And I say, well, you know what? I want a reality where I'm rich. Okay. So I'm going to say in this reality, there's poor Ron, meaning I don't have any money. In this reality, there is rich Ron, okay? And this is a reality too, okay? All right, and I hope you guys can see this, because this will answer a lot of questions. This is the first reality that I'm existing in. Say, hypothetically, I'm existing in this reality where I'm poor, I'm impoverished, I have no money. My wives are going to leave me because I'm not, well, they're staying with me because they get good sex, but never mind. Okay. And then the second reality is where Ron is rich. That's a parallel reality. Okay. That I can leap from. So Ron in this reality can leap to this reality. So things like transurfing and the New Age movement are teaching that you can move to a parallel reality, one that has the things that you want, where maybe you're rich, maybe you're president of the United States, where you're a dictator of a third world country, or whether you're Mother Teresa, or whether you're have a hit show on Broadway as an actor and actress. So they talk about changing your vibration and shifting to that reality, which is correct. You need to change your vibrations, and your vibrations originate from what? Your belief system, the beliefs that you harbor. And I'm not talking about the beliefs that you think about consciously. I'm talking about those embedded in your subconscious mind, or we can say the shadow self, or the psyche, whatever term you want to use, right? So the individuals make it seem like, okay, you can simply leap to this reality. Or another thing they will say is, well, there's sometimes it's a bigger leap. So you'll probably have to leap from this reality to this reality to this reality. But, so there are other realities in between. There's interim realities, maybe 3 or 4, that you'll have to leap to get to the one reality that you want. That is a lie. That's bullshit. That's not how it works. Let me just set the record straight, and you're only going to hear it from me, Kasank Ma'a Kiparu, son of Ma'at. If you don't believe me, go to the Oracle and do an Oracle reading on this, and the Oracle will validate exactly what I'm saying. That is not how it works. And those self-proclaimed gurus who are teaching this nonsense need to stop it, because people who try it and they don't suddenly find themselves in a new reality are freaking out, and they become disenchanted and upset at the New Age movement, and they blame it all on us magi, saying your magic doesn't work. Well, I never said it should work that way. That's not how it works. All right? Does everybody understand that? You can type 1 into the chat box if you understand that. Or you can type yes, either one. All right? Well, Kasag, how does it work? Can you help a brother out and teach me? Yes, I can do that. Thank you for asking. All right? So this is how it works, okay? Poor Ron is in this reality, right? So reality is not like a whole. Reality is not a whole, complete picture. It doesn't work that way. What is reality? Reality is a puzzle made up of different components, different little pieces that all fit together. Do you follow me? That's what reality is. This is what reality is. It all fits together to form a picture. Now, if you want to shift to a new reality and go to this reality, well, first, the only thing that can happen is a piece of this reality comes off and shifts to this reality, and a piece of that reality goes away. And then another piece, and then another piece, and then another piece. You're not going to shift to this entire whole reality. It's not going to happen. You're only going to bring to you individual components, small individual components, until they form a complete whole. That's how it works. So people looking to jump to a totally new reality, if that happens, you are the greatest magician that ever lived. But that doesn't happen typically unless it's a physical event like a wormhole or rip in the very fabric of space and time. But using your power, you can only bring to you, through your vibrational frequency, those individual pieces of the puzzle of the other reality until they form a collective whole, which is a totally new reality. For example, if I want to be rich, I may bring to me a job in the stock market. Then the next thing will happen is I will start to invest money, and I will find that I have I have good insight into investments. And the next thing will happen is an opportunity will come for me to invest in a very small startup, and I invest in it. The next thing I know, that startup takes off, makes billions of dollars, and I'm filthy rich now. That's how that reality can work. But it's not typical for you to shift to a whole new reality. All right? So get that straight. And if you're very perceptive and you look closely at the reality around you, you will see the pieces coming together. You know, you'll see, like, for example, I was just thinking about that dog, and now I see that dog. What is that dog doing here? I was just thinking about that bird. Now that bird is here. I was just thinking about that building, and now that exact building that I was imagining is here. That's how it starts to work. Those are indications or reality pinging you that the reality that you want is coming to you piece by piece by piece. But you have people who are given the wrong information, so that when they don't shift to a totally new reality, they get upset and blame the technique. No, it's not the technique. The technique works. You're seeing the signs, but you're not committed to the journey. You're giving up too soon. You understand? And I gave you guys an example of the money magic, and watch my previous video where I show you how to manifest money. I say, if you want to manifest $100, you tell reality to ping you, which means basically show you a sign that it's working on bringing you $100, and you walk and you find $10. That is an indication that the reality where you have $100 is coming to you bit by bit in pieces. Okay? So those of us who are saying, well, I'm unhappy with the Cosby trial, I'm unhappy with this, I'm unhappy with the way they treated O.J. Simpson or whatever, then you have to, I'm happy that Hillary was not president. Then you have to start on that journey to the reality where Hillary is president, or, well, wherever, Gorbachev is president, whatever reality that you want. You have to start embarking on that reality and understand that it's going to come to you in measured degrees. Now, With that said, if you understand the Kemetic way of life and how us Kemetians, or we think, then you'll understand that there's no polar opposite. Nothing contradicts or opposes, that everything complements each other. So we can hold two opposing set of ideas and still understand that that rule applies. So when I say to you that things come to you in these pieces, like in a puzzle, I can also say to you, yes, you can magically shift to an entirely new reality. The probability is less likely, but it's still possible. Okay, it's still possible, and there's many of those who have done it. If you're lucky enough to hit a lottery and win, $400 million, then there you go. It's an instant shift to a new reality. Okay, so that's how that works. But what I'm saying to you is focus on what is obtainable right now, and that is that you can shift in measured degrees to the reality that you want, but you have to look at the signs. And when you see reality that's pinging you or showing you signs that what you want is coming your way, you should use that as a way to instill greater faith in you. Okay, that should strengthen your faith that the technique is working and bringing you to where you want to go. So Heru Nefer Shepsu. So keep that in mind. Oh, yes. The question is, I thought you said it would be hard to have a radical change, something about a higher energy. I just covered that. I said that, yes, it is hard to have a radical change, but you can. The other alternate thing is if you have a storehouse of chi energy that is so powerful that you can use that energy to vibrate instantaneously to a totally new reality. But most of us don't have that kind of chi. We don't have that energy. You need to get some type of machine like they have at CERN, and get that type of energy to shift to a new reality, okay? Because you're on the subatomic level, the particles are vibrating. So how do you get all those particles vibrating to the right reality, And one of the ways that you can move to the reality that you want is to act as if, meaning that you have to, I hate to use this word, but I'm going to use it, trick your psyche into believing that which you want is already here. Because when you start to believe that which you want is here, then the universe has no choice but to give it to you. It's like I said, it's like, sometimes like I'll wake up and, I'll say, why am I so wealthy? Why am I so wealthy? Why am I so healthy? And that is actually a very powerful NLP technique, neuro-linguistic programming, where you're kind of tricking the mind and making the mind answer the question. But not only answering the question, you're commanding the spirit and the power or your magic tortoise within to manifest that reality. Why am I surrounded by beautiful women? Or why am I surrounded by handsome men? Or why does every man want me? When you start saying that as a question and posing that, then reality starts to work to make it happen. This is why language is so important, because you are giving out commands to your subconscious mind to do certain things. When you say things like, oh, I'm a fool, I'm an idiot, well, you're manifesting that. You're going to manifest that in some way, shape, or form. So be careful of what you say and do, because it has a direct impact upon you or another version of you. Okay. So as I said before, don't get upset over this one incident where you have, Cosby being found guilty, or someone not in the office that you want, or even of your condition and your situation. Accept it for what it is, learn magic, and then move from that point on to change things. You understand? Don't allow your person, the vehicle, to become stressed out at what is going on in this false reality. And I'm going to leave you with that. Everything that you're interacting with, meaning the cockroach, the ant, the doggy, the TV, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your boss, the stranger on the street, are not real. That is the core belief that you have to accept before you can become a master magi. Now, just because they're not real does not mean that you will not get hurt. That's different now. So don't go running out into the street and saying, that car is not real, it's not going to hit me and hurt me. No, it will, in a sense. Okay. But what I want you to understand that all of this is just a manifestation for you to gain the experience. Okay. Don't get caught up in trying to exit the matrix. It's a very, very high goal, seriously high goal. Rather say, okay, if I'm going to be in this matrix, then I'm going to manipulate the hell out of it. I'm going to change the code so that I am going to live a life of luxury, of happiness, and of beauty. Think about it that way. You know what I mean? And as you're going along in that journey, then work on exiting, but enjoy while you're trying to work on exiting. No point in stressing yourself out trying to think, well, I'll be happy when I exit. Yeah, it's not going to happen right away. Because when you die, you're going to be recycled and be brought right back into the matrix. Okay. And you're going to be, darn, I thought I was exiting. I'm right back where I started. Yeah, that's how it works. They recycle your soul. That's what they do until you learn to detach yourself from the material fourth dimensional world. And then when you detach yourself from the emotional investment and a belief system and a definition about what you're seeing, then when you die and go to the inner planes and you go before Tahuti, they'll say, oh, wow, you have no emotional attachment to anything. So we're not going to recycle your soul. You can stay here. You can get out the matrix. And there you go. That's how you do it. So I want to thank you, all you magi, for tuning in. And let me just see if we have any final questions. We are our place in the exact existence because of our past conditionings. Absolutely right, Shepsu. Absolutely right. The shifting to new reality can only be done when you have transformed within to feel the requirement of that reality. Hey, that's exactly right. I love the way you put that. That is exactly right. So I want to thank all of you Magi's for watching this broadcast. If you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe to his channel. Don't forget to download the Osiris report if you haven't. It's a very good report. And we also have the rape culture report, which is very pertinent to what's going on nowadays. And lastly, contribute to the Patreon campaign where you have more instructional videos and it'll take you higher into the world of magic. So until my next broadcast, this is Cosby, son of Ma'at, Amen Ra.